Good morning, Infinity. Good morning, y'all. Good morning, everybody. Good morning to those of you who are coming in from around the world, wherever you are. We welcome you to the Infinity Fellowship. We are happy to be here today. This is the call to gather. And so I invite you in this space today to join us in this wonderful moment. If you want to take a pause right now, as we are slowing our breath down, or as we are getting into the space of meditation for celebration for today's service. As you do that, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. If you're on YouTube, go ahead and hit that like button. If you are on Facebook or if you are on Twitter, hit that little heart. Wherever you may be, hit the share button so that people can know there that you are here. And it's real simple to hit the subscribe button on YouTube so that we can let you know when we are broadcasting and when we are live. We are absolutely live every Sunday here at the Infinity Fellowship online and in the space. So isn't it good to be in the space? It's grateful that we made it here today. It's grateful that we've come through the spaces that we've come through in the week. And we're just excited to be here today and very grateful. Slow that breath down a little bit. And now we ask that all eyes be closed, all heads be bowed, all hearts be open. As we call together the members, the friends, the visitors at the Infinity Fellowship today, we focus on the God of our acceptance and understanding. In many cultures, that energy of God is given a name. In other cultures, that energy is given an acronym for Gomer, Oz, Debor, wisdom, strength, and beauty. In other traditions, it is an acronym for good, orderly direction. We utilize the term universe right now. We utilize the term ancestral realm right now. We utilize the term God in infinite energy right now. We utilize the term divine source in this moment. As we go to that source together in acknowledgement, in awareness, in love. God, Spirit Divine, Mother, Father, we thank you for the gathering today. We thank you for those of us who are coming in the space. We thank you for those who are on the way here. Send to them protection and guidance on these slightly slick streets of Nashville. As precipitation is coming in and out, we ask that you guide them safely into the Infinity Center here today. We thank you for those who are broadcasting in from all over the globe that we get to say hello to in a few moments. We thank you for this space itself, for being a space of learning, for being a space of teaching, for being a space of empowerment, for being a space of community. Thank you for these 8 years of existence. Thank you as we celebrate this month, gathering for 8 whole entire years. Thank you for the ability through 8 years to be here for several moments of people who are at crossroads and crisis. Thank you for giving us the gift of being able to wrap our arms around so many people over the years. Thank you for those who came for a reason and got that reason here at the Infinity Fellowship. Thank you for those who existed here for a season, who got what they needed during that moment. Thank you for those who have been here throughout the lifetime and beyond, who have provided the core stability that gives us the strength, the vision, the power, the inspiration to keep on keeping on. We thank you for our young people today, for they are indeed the future. Bless the tech crew today and bless the internet signal that is going out today into our homes. And as people gather right now, we thank you for the awareness that you are always present with us. And so we speak that something is said in this moment today, something is shared in this service today, something that is heard in a lyric or a song that will continue to lift, uplift, and bless those who gather at this divine space we call infinity. For these and others things we cannot put into words, we simply say thank you and breathe in gratitude together. We proclaim goodness, and so it is. Amen. Amen. Hotep. Shalom. Namaste. Ashe. As we prepare for the pouring of libations today, as we see you in the chat box, this is an opportunity for you to mention out loud those ancestors who have come before you, those people whose shoulders you stand upon. As we pour the water today at our altar, we pour water to represent the living, and we pour it into the earth, which is what happens to these earth suits that we're wearing right now. This is my earth suit named Reverend Jeff Obafemi Carr. This is the earth suit known as Kamaria Carr. How you doing today?
Good.
Good. Sister Kamaria is going to help me pour water today at the altar. And we recognize that absence in these physical bodies simply means that we are present in the divine cosmos, that there is no death, there is only transition. And while we miss those who have gone on before, it is the lessons that they left with us that keep us alive and well. And when we recognize and remember those lessons, when we embrace those lessons, they keep the energy of our people alive. I think about my ancestors and my immediate ancestors. I think about my parents as we pour. I think about my grandparents as we pour. And it may just be biting into a piece of cornbread that just brings back your childhood. It may be opening a pot of greens and getting that smell in the house that just reminds you of that safe place that they gave to you. It may be a laugh in a child. It may be something funny that you see on TV and you can hear them laughing in your ear. Those little moments remind you that they're still here. And so we acknowledge opening the way for our ancestors and invite you in the space to think about those who have transitioned from the space of life after life, and begin to call their names when it is time. And we also ask those of you who are at home, if you'd like, call their names aloud at home or type them in the box, because it's great to see so many ancestors coming in from around the world. All right, Smoochie, let's go. We're going to pour a little water, and we're going to say, cool water, freshen our spirits. Ashe. Cool water, freshen and consecrate this house. Ashe. Freshen and consecrate our collective ancestors. Ashe. We give praise to Almighty Mother, Father God, Divine Source, and all creation. Ashe. Grant to us peace, prosperity, and clear vision always. Ashe. We pour to the energies of the North, where we find our confidence and sense of direction and commitment to be a yes today in all things. Ashe. We pour to the energies of the South, where we got our remembrance of who we are and where we come from. Ashe. We pour to the energies of the East and the rising sun, recognizing that yesterday is gone and all we have is the right now. And even though it's raining outside a little bit, that sun is still above the clouds, and the sun exists inside each and every one of us. Ashe. To the energy of the West, that even when the sun goes down, the lesson comes through the moon that divines us and divines for us the divine light, the feminine principle that covers the darkness. Ashe. We pour to the ground below us, understanding that we must be grounded in who we are, and yes, we must be able to bend sometimes in order to keep from breaking. Ashe. To the sky above us, where we find the space of our dreams, that blank landscape where our imagination creates images for us that when we put them into our heart space, we manifest reality. Ashe. The seventh direction that we pour to is the intersection of everyone, and that is the heart space. That is where we find our dreams and we commit to live them in remembrance of those who have gone before. Ashe. And so we ask now that at home and in the space that you call aloud the names of the ancestors who you remember as we continue to pour the water for them. Call the names aloud as you are now. Ashe. And finally, for the children in the world, womb, and yet unborn, we pour. Ashe, Ashe, Asheo. And so it is. Thank you, Kamaria. Great job. Great job. All right, right on time. Today's meditation, y'all, comes from the interpretive writing of Deborah Adele, who writes an interpretation of the yogic yamas and niyamas in her book, The Yamas and Niyamas. It's from the concept of ahimsa, which is nonviolence. Sister Deborah Adele reminds us, killing and doing physical harm are grosser forms of violence that are easily seen and understood. However, nonviolence has many subtle implications as well. When we feel horrified, afraid, powerless, out of balance, and harsh with ourselves, we may find ourselves speaking words of unkindness or even exploding with a violent outburst. As our awareness of these nuances grows, we learn that our ability to be nonviolent with others is directly related to our ability to be nonviolent within ourselves. Our inner strength and character determine our ability to be a person of peace at home and in the world. Deep breath in. Exhale, let it go. Ashe, and so it is. Got a good one today. All right, we're going to invite Sister Kenitha up to lead us through our statement of infinitude. Awesome. Y'all give us some snaps or some claps. Get it live in here.
All right, good morning. As I welcome you into the Infinity Fellowship, I remind you of the 4 core principles of our gathering. We call that SNAP. The S in SNAP is for spirituality that transcends religion and connects you to the God of your own understanding. And of course, the N in SNAP is for nurturing of ourselves and others' mind, body, and spirit. The A is for action, because we take action in our callings and walk in our divine purpose every day. And guess what? Finally, the P is for the proof that our spiritual practices manifest fruit in our lives through the building and maintaining of healthy and prosperous families, relationships, careers, and dreams. We are grateful that you all are here as unique manifestations of our Creator, the loving, living spirit of our commonality, the divine source of all creation, perceived by many names, yet known by only one energy. This is the foundational practice of true interspirituality. Come on about that. We're all affirmed in love energy. So I invite you all at home and in the space to stand with me and join me in our statement of infinitude. We agree that we are beings of pure, eternal spirit, birthed from the creative potential of the universe, with all the powers of the Creator inherent within us. We embrace the innate goodness of humankind and an abundant creation that provides for us through the seeds that we plant in our everyday lives. We acknowledge that who we are is housed in a temporary biological organism, and as such, it is our responsibility to take care of it, because it will only last for a precious window of time. As we nurture ourselves spiritually, mentally, emotionally, and physically, we commit to provide like acts of nurturing for our fellow brothers and sisters of the world we live in, embracing all regardless of religious faith, skin color, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, or socioeconomic background. All are truly welcome at infinity. We agree and accept that various religions exist as a unique opportunity for humanity to get to know one another through meaningful conversations that seek to explore the core concepts we share in common. It is the application of ancient wisdom, scientific discovery, and spiritual practices, both physical and metaphysical, that will lead us closer together as a human family. We commit to exist now and ever as a beloved community. Let it be so according to the many ancient terms of affirmation. Amen. Amen. Hotep. Shalom. Namaste. Ashe.
Hey, awesome. Let's remain standing as we get ready to generate a little bit of gratitude in the space today. Isn't it awesome to be able to be here? Was it raining where y'all were? Okay.
drizzling.
It's around the corner. It wasn't okay. It was drizzling a little bit where we were, but we're in the space today, and it's a time to generate gratitude. We do that by saying good morning to you. If you're at home, list one thing that you're grateful for in the chat box so we can shout you out. And if you're here, we're going to sing, and then we're going to... Yeah, there it is. Then we're going to sing that. Then we're going to greet each other with the greeting of who we are and one thing we're grateful for. Morning to you. Good morning to you.
And we say, a da 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 da, a da 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 da, a da 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 da.
All right, let's greet two people, three people. What we got?
To you, a good morning to you, a good morning to you, good morning to you. So I want you, if you are online right now, make sure that you're typing in what you're grateful for, because we are happy to see you all. Good morning to you online. Good morning, family. So go ahead and type in some things that you are grateful for on this morning. We love y'all. Listen, I'm grateful to be up this morning and being able to get here safely. That is amazing. So what are you grateful for? A good morning to you. A good morning to you. A good morning to you. 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 Good morning to you.
Thank you, Smooch. All right, good. All right, let's carry that gratitude space into the space of our giving today, because we sang good morning. We're going to recognize that as we give today, we are just excited. So many things that we got coming up in our anniversary year. We got membership meeting coming up that we're going to be talking about, and exciting things to reveal. Gratitude to the board who spent a couple of weeks ago some time sitting down and navigating what the entire rest of the year will look like. So gratitude. We got exciting spaces. So this is a space where we begin to pour back into the space that provides us for with our spiritual food. So we're having a great little round, a new round of new members. Our second new round, they're going through the 4 spiritual laws, and it's a wonderful opportunity for you to continue to learn and practice. But today we're going to start our giving by reminding us that when we give back into the space that pours into us, it amplifies the essence and the energy. And we got to 8 years by pouring in. We're going to get to 80 beyond that. We get to pour into an institution that's going to live beyond us, that's going to continue to pour into communities and feed the hungry and clothe those who are looking for clothing and energy. All of that is what we do with our giving. And so you're going to get excited as I am at the end of the month when we do our membership meeting. You get to see how we've grown as an institution and how we grew through COVID. Which absolutely took out a lot of institutions, but we're not one of them. So we're still here and we're grateful. So as we prepare to give and we give back financially, we're going to supercharge our energy. We're going to supercharge our money. We're going to say that everything is good. So give from a space of good. So go ahead and close your eyes. Take a deep breath. Center yourself as you prepare what you're going to give today. Recognizing that we cannot beat the universe in giving. When you release that lack mentality, you open up the door for the universe to embrace you and shower upon you those things that you wish for yourself by action. pouring in. There it is. Great energy there. Repeat after me. Everything is good. Everything is good. Everything is good. I got it. I got it. I got it good. All right, rise to your feet. Let us say together our offertory affirmation. If you're giving, you can give via Cash App, PayPal. You can even mail it in, and you can give PayPal internationally. We'll put that up in a minute. For now, let us absorb and speak out into the atmosphere our giving affirmation. O limitless, abundant Creator, source of everything I possess, you have given me the gifts of life, breath, and creativity. You continue to provide for me without judgment or preference. And so I freely return these gifts to you with my whole heart, mind, and intention, knowing that as I give freely with both remembrance and gratitude, the circle of abundance will be unbroken. And so it is. Let us give at this time. You can give in the envelope in present. You can give however you feel it.
Everything is good.
But sing along with us. Everything is good. Everything is good. And I got it. I got it. Oh, I got it good.
Hey,
Come on, sing. Yeah.
Everything is good. Yes, it is.
Everything is good. Everything is good.
Oh,
Everything is good. And I got it. I've got it. Oh, I've got it good.
hey, everything is good. Yeah, everything is good. Everything is good. Oh, everything is good. And I got it. I got it. Oh, I got it good. Hey, everything is good. Everything is good. Everything is good. Oh, everything is good. And I got it. I got it. Oh, I got it good. Hey, everything is good. Yes, it is. I said everything is good. Yeah. Oh, everything is good. And I got it. I got it. Oh, I got it good. Hey, sing with me now. Everything is good. Yes, it is. I said everything is good. Everything is good. Oh, everything is good. And I got it. I got it. Oh, I got it good. Oh, I've got it good. I got it. Yeah, I got it. Oh, I got it good. I've got it. I got it. Hey, I got it. Oh, I got it
Everything is good. What an awesome time. All right, let's get our welcomes in today, wherever we are. So we want to welcome you all into the space today, and thank you, Smooch, for getting up there and singing. She's been participating in the service today, doing all of those things. I love it. Oh, that Sweat Lodge did something. We're going more on that later. But this is a reminder that if you got something good that you want to share, if you have a standing ovation, there's a form there by the desk. Make sure you fill it out. And Sister Angie is in Murfreesboro today. So Sister Denise will have the form. So if you had something good that you want to share, we're going to invite you to fill out the standing ovation form and put it right over here in the red jar so we can announce it. It can be an accomplishment, something we want to shout you out for. We're going to do that after the visitors welcome. And after that point, we'll take a brief coffee break. But for right now, we want to say good morning, Infinity. Good morning, Infinity.
Good morning.
All right, for our visitors, my name is Rev Jeff, also known as Jeff Obafemi Carr. If you're beaming in for a first time, go ahead and type first time in the box so that we can welcome you in the space today and say hello and send your shout out to you wherever you might be coming in from all over the world. We are excited today to welcome our first timers and let you know that we see you for who you are. Take a picture of the slide or hold your phone up so that you can now see the QR code there. We want to make sure that you can get the gift that we send to our first time visitors. We've come to the point where we can send you a little gift, a little token of appreciation. I love it. It's a beautiful thing. And we are excited. So take a picture of that code and let us know that you're a first time visitor. Fill out the information form and we'll send you a little something. If you come into the space and you see the QR code, of course, take a picture here and we'll get you covered. At Infinity, we let you know that we see you for who you truly are. You're not a human being who showed up today to have a spiritual experience. It's the other way around. You're a spirit navigating the human experience just like the rest of us. So wherever you are, I know we don't have any first timers, but if we have a first timer in the actual physical space as it has been renovated, y'all know I'm talking to Alex. So stand on up so we can wave at you. It's our guest for today too. We love you, man. We're looking forward to hearing from you in a minute. So everybody else, let's rise and get into 2 or 3 little small groups so that we can say our visitors welcome to each other and we can say our reminder welcome to each other. So take a deep breath wherever you are in the world. You can just hold your hands up and receive it in the space today. If you are at home, you can just hear these words and know that we're speaking directly to you. So look around and you see that everybody is a unique reflection of humanity. And we look you directly in the eyes and we look each other in the eyes because we recognize that that's not a threat. It's not time for fight or flight. It's a time for embracing. And when you embrace those eyes, you know that you're embracing the beauty of humanity and everything that we are as divine reflections of the Creator. Take a deep breath and everybody repeat after me. I see you. I see you. But you don't hear me though. I really see the real you. I see who you are. You are a divine manifestation of God's creation. I see what you are. You are a spirit. You're more than what's on the outside. You are a gift to me and to the entire world. I see where you are. You're right here in front of me, where I can let you know that you are not alone. I am with you and you are at home. I see when you are. You're in the right now, baby. You are so much more than your yesterday. I see why you are. You're here to learn, to grow, to embrace your dreams, and to celebrate your divine destiny. I know all this because I'm here to do the same thing. So we're going to help each other out. All right? I know the real you. And I see you shining today. So welcome to Infinity. Welcome home. Ashe, oh, yes. Let's give it up. Dance it out a little bit. We're going to take a brief little break, greet our visitors, get everything in order, do a couple of announcements, and do the If Speaks, baby. If you are at home, I'm going to shout you out at this time. Let's give a few shout outs while we're taking a break, Tony. We go to our chat tab. Awesome. Thank y'all. Let's go, crew. We're going to say some gratitude moments for everybody that's coming in right now. We're going to put y'all up, and it's you and me, because we're giving the crew here a chance to take a little coffee break. So we're excited here. Good morning. Stephanie Nicole, what's happening? Good morning, Infinity. We're looking forward to seeing you, sis. We've been hearing about you. We know you're performing. We know you're doing great things around the world. We're excited to one day see you here in the space today. So to you and the girls, y'all got an open invitation. Come on through. Yes, we got Leanne in the house. Sunny greetings to everybody from Belgium, snapping in. Grateful to be with Infinity today. And as always, we're grateful for you. As we are in this space today. Sister Angie Bartlett-Treese, we're grateful for you, cuz, that you are here with us in virtual space. We are speaking healing and power and empowerment over you and your energy and welcoming you in the virtual space today. Brother Charles Houston, hey, man, peace and blessings all, man. Peace and blessings to you, man. We've been sending you emails, so we know you're caught up. Looking forward to seeing you on Tuesday. At some point, we know we got you together, man, and we're glad to hear that the family's safe, that you all are safe, and that Florida, that hurricane passed on over, and that everything is indeed all right. Sister Michelle, good to see you in the space. Good morning from Texas. Love you. We love you back. We're sending you energy down there and embracing all of who you are with your style, with your grace, and everything that you put into the world. We're grateful to have you on there. Cindy's in the house. Good to have you, Cindy. Good morning. Cindy Terry is in the house. And Neo, I know Neo's right there, man. Hey, what's up? We see you. We see the real you too. We know we got the whole family here. And it's great to see you. And tell Uncle Marvin and everybody we say, hey, all right, we love them too. And Aunt Lynn, Uncle Marvin, Aunt Lynn, we now family. They came to visit, and we are here with them. Sister Felina's in from Wisconsin. Good day, Infinity Fellowship family. I also know God, G-O-D, as generator, operator, destroyer. Okay, go, all three. God will generate the love. God will operate the love. God will destroy any obstacle in your path. That thing will preach right there. All you need is a good acronym. It's raining in Texas. Report is in. Grateful for rain. Love and appreciate your Infinity Fellowship. Back at you, Sister Mayberry. Trey is in the house. Trey is in the house at Sweat Lodge. Got on him, I know, because that first time you can get it. Trey said, grateful for the divine breath of life, Ashe. And we're grateful for you too, man. Great to have you in here. Sister Tashana and the Lindsay family are in today. Good morning, IF family. So grateful for waking up, for breathing, for eating breakfast with my family. Come on. Oh, yeah. What y'all cook? I didn't have a breakfast. Brother Alex said, I got to put some banana. We had some leftover snacks from the Sweat Lodge. We see people at those apples and oranges, and it's good. Nothing like that. Eat them up today, y'all. Eat them up today. Take some with you. We're in the space today. Cindy is grateful for the Infinity Fellowship community, for nature, for fresh air, and for the colors of this fall season. Oh, man, what a great moment. Brother Charles said, my name is Charles Benjamin Houston, and I'm thankful for the Martin Luther King Jr. International Chapel on the campus of Morehouse College that was recently rededicated to fostering the beloved community. Come on through. Reconsecrate that chapel. Good morning. Grateful for improved health coming in from the Bartlett-Treese family in Murfreesboro. Sister Stacy Jackson. Hey, Stacy. Good to see you. It's a lovely fall day in Maryland. I am grateful for the ability to experience it. Ah, man, isn't that wonderful? I love to see these reports coming in. Sister Winnie Nobles is coming in. Hello, it is raining. It is raining in Kigali, Rwanda, the heart of Africa. So we got Africa in the place. We got Belgium in the house today. We got, I know Leanne's somewhere in there. I know she's in there. If not, she's on the replay. So Leanne, we're sending you love in Belgium. And Winnie, we're sending you love in Rwanda. So we got Europe, Africa, we got everything coming in, West Coast and East Coast. Tashana's coming in. Dalia is grateful for Infinity and so excited to meet you all soon. We're going to get to meet the girls, we know. Come on home. Felina's grateful for my good friend getting her products added to the local natural food co-ops, 4 stores. Ooh, y'all got pre-standing ovations coming in here. Sister Michelle said, I missed the Sweat Lodge again, but next time. Yeah, don't worry. We got some more again. We're going to talk about that. We had a great experience, y'all. So as we're here, we want to give some announcements. So again, in preparation, if you have a standing ovation, drop it off in the jar. If you're online and you have a standing ovation, go ahead and type it now in the box so we can get to that. Something good that we can celebrate about you. the accomplishment that you've had, something that you birthed into the world, go ahead and type it in. Well, y'all, welcome to October, the 10th month out of 12 months in 2022, the year of attainment. It's our 8th anniversary, and the definition of attainment is the action or fact of achieving a goal toward which one has worked. How many of y'all been working towards some goals? Oh man, this is the year for the big payoff. And so every single day we're going to speak aloud our mantra, and our mantra is, I live in the overflow.
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 I felt that. I live in the overflow. All the testimonies of everything that is overflowing, even those things that you thought were bad that are now turning out to be good. You recognize the universe blocked some things from you that you thought you wanted, but it's because it had something better waiting on you. You thought that door number 1 got taken away, but really the prize was door number 3. So we're living in that overflow. Next week is Yoga Sunday, and it will be virtual, y'all. Next week is virtual Yoga Sunday, so we will be on the virtual space. Join us. If you show up and knock on the door, nobody's going to answer. We're going to be in the virtual space. I love y'all, but I'm letting y'all know. Yoga Sunday, so many people practice now around the world and the globe. It gives us a safe way while we're in the space now until we can outfit it so that people can line out the door. It gives us a safe way that people can practice, and especially for first timers and people who are not as comfortable in practicing, because we get mindful of our own selves. It gives you a space where when you get the instruction virtually, you can fall out on the floor, you can hold on to a chair, you can put a pillow under you, you can do whatever you need to, but do something. So we recognize that practice is growing. So we will be back soon in person, but next Sunday will be virtual. Please mark your calendar for 2 special events. And I'm gonna go ahead and call Sister Kenitha up already, because the first event I want everybody to write down, this is our trunk or treat. We're back with our trunk or treat. And Sister Kenitha is going to come and tell us about our trunk or treat. Thanks. That's at General Wash, isn't it, Tony? Okay, thank you, man. Appreciate that. I felt it a little bit. I was like, let there be light.
Yes.
I was like, ah.
Trunk or treat.
So tell us about our trunk or treat, Sister Kenitha, and
Okay,
the people who may be
so,
close who might want to come in.
This has a little feed. Should I stand over here?
No, you're good.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just going to cut
So
it back
October
a little bit.
29th, from 3 to 5, we will have trunk or treat. And you know, each year, especially if you're coming here, of course, we're going to have inflatables, and we're going to have popcorn, and we're going to have s'mores and candy. If you're wanting to be a part of the Decorating Your Trunk contest, please arrive at 2 o'clock. Because at 3 we will start the contest. So at 2 o'clock you can arrive and go ahead and decorate your trunk, and then 3 o'clock we stop and we start voting. People have received pretty great gifts, and so I'm looking forward to seeing what gifts will be for first, second, and third place. So this is a community affair, so you can tell anybody, everybody to come out and do this. But if they're going to be in the trunk or treat contest, where you get to decorate your trunk, please arrive at 2 o'clock. We will also have candy, but if you want to personally bring your own candy for your trunk, so that may give you some extra points. Then go ahead and have that, because at the end of the contest, then the kids will go around to the different trunks to get some more candy and all of that. But we'll have activities. Hopefully our Haunted Woods, I've got a few people who are going to be working on the Haunted Woods trail. So yeah, it might be a little bit too scary for me, but all right.
You don't want the Haunted Woods?
Because for some reason, all the people who dress up like to come and terrorize me, and I fall. And so, but we do have our walking trail back there.
Bring your knee pads
Haunted
in case you're the
Woods.
type that falls in the Haunted Woods. It's
But we're gonna have a good time. Wear your costumes, adults. Wear your costumes, and we're gonna have a great time. October 29th, 3 to 5. We'll have again inflatables and food and snacks and candy and all that good stuff.
It's gonna be fun. Let's come, man. We didn't get to do it last year.
No, we didn't.
But this is the first time in 2 years.
Well,
So,
yeah, the year before
we
even
did.
when we were in COVID.
Even in COVID, we kept the tradition alive,
2020,
but we
yeah.
bring it back. We got the bouncies and all of that. Okay, second thing to mark your calendar for is Sister Kenitha may want to talk about this too a little bit. Well, I mean, you know, next is Standing Ovation, so you might as well stay up here with me. So October 30th at 1 o'clock p.m., we're going to have our membership meeting. So our annual membership meeting is going to be here in the space. We also have virtual options. For those of you who are giving members from around the country, wherever you are, we will have a Zoom room available for you. You need to check your email. You'll get an email from comms@aplos.com to get information on attending and zooming in. Everyone else, we're going to be here in the virtual space, and we're going to have a couple of things to reveal, one of which is our 2023 vision, where we're going, the work that we're doing on One Infinity Way, our development, our community outreach, and our expansion into doing things in other communities. And what else are we going to have?
And also an update, I want to give a shout out to Whitfield and Associates, our accounting firm. So they're prepping everything so that we'll have great financials. So you'll be able to see our yearly financials and good stuff like that, as well as volunteering. This is going to be a good opportunity for people to sign up, and some of the volunteer activities that we still want to do as well.
Excellent.
So that's on Sundays. So y'all are going to be spending the whole weekend with us. So 29th, trunk or treat. The next day, Sunday,
Yes.
we'll have that, and we'll also have refreshments available if you have refreshments.
Yes.
That's
So mark your calendar.
Yes.
We enjoy membership meeting. We get a chance to show you the innards and outers of Infinity, 100% transparency. We strive to be a 100% transparent organization. We're grateful to Sister Kenitha with the accounting and as an chief operating officer, and again to Whitfield and Associates, an awesome CPA
bomb,
firm.
y'all. They
Y'all, we get to know where every dime is, and it's a beautiful process for an organization that is growing. And that's what membership here is Infinity gets you in that space. So as we're up here, it is time for Standing Ovations.
Tune your vibration to a high elevation. It's time for the good news, our standing ovation.
Yes.
We all did it. Yay.
We all did it.
All right. Our high energy here at IF comes from our practice of snap. This is why we snap our fingers during this part of the service. We receive practical lessons and tools for our individual journeys. That's spirituality. We fellowship with like-minded spirits every week. That's nurturing. We take what we learn and apply it in our lives. That's action. And then if we do these, then we should and will see every week examples of progress in our lives. And that's the proof. So let us pause to enjoy a collective moment of manifestation and expansion. This is what happens when your name is called. Please stand as I read aloud your manifestation. That's online as well if you'd like to stand up at home.
Please do.
And then when we finish with each person's ovations, we will snap. But then at the very end, we're going to provide a collective standing ovation. Okay?
All right, good. Let's read our first ovations. And I think, do we have any online, Tony, that I need to look at? Okay, we do. Cindy Terry has a standing ovation from online. And I want to make sure I got this because I think I took a note to give a standing ovation on here. Yes, absolutely did. All right. So Cindy Terry says, as I was returning back from Tennessee a few weeks ago, I received a call. I was ready to go to closing. I closed on the purchase of 2 acres of family property on the 6th of October, 2022, filing a standing O. So, yes, excited.
God said that. I know, acres. Yes.
We know that process, and we know what you've been going through. And what an awesome to go back from Tennessee and to get a notice that they want to close and get that done. 2 acres of family property. Congratulations, sister.
Yes.
The best is yet to come.
Yes.
What an
Oh,
accomplishment. What an accomplishment. Overflow.
Means
All right, so Sister Angie Bartlett Tree says, shout out to our daughter Hillary, is one of 2 senior members of the Eagleville High School Marching Band. Yesterday, they performed in a band competition in Pulaski, Tennessee. They came in first in the categories of percussion, flag corps, which resulted in winning the overall, hold on, let me make sure I can see that, Tony. We take it, let's drag this scroll down a little bit off the show button. Oh, there we go now. It resorted in the winning the overall competition.
What?
Go Eagleville. Go Eagleville.
Go Eagleville.
Come on, Flag Corps. What y'all know about that? We got some Flag Corps alumni. Well, they're not here with us in space. We got some flag folk here in the space today. Brother Terrell Lindsay, Standing O. We moved to Georgia to discover the community we always had. We have been poured into every day since moving and just put in a washer dryer gift from a coworker at a job that Spirit guided me to. Come on.
What?
I try to. Look, I ain't gonna appreciate that because Brother Alex is gonna give us our
Yes.
most meaty stuff in a minute. We're gonna sit over here in the corner in a minute and talk. But let me just say that when you open yourself to a spirit of giving, you don't get to determine how the return comes. You know, it's gambling when you say, you know, I'm going to put in and get the scratch off, and then I'm going to get a return from the scratch. I'm going to buy a certain kind of, make an investment and get a 12% return. That's stock and investment. It's great. But when you're in a giving spirit, and Terrell and Tashawn, they've been practicing those principles, you don't know how it's going to come back. People show up with appliances. People show up with leases. Obstacles that have been blocked for you all of a sudden appear that you don't. The universe knows your address, and you will be found when you get up from that emotional support in your time of need. It's so much that it is overflow. You can't even predict it. I stopped trying a long time ago. You just in that spirit of giving, and you have tuned your frequency to that. So blessings to y'all for even taking that plunge from driving to Arizona to Georgia. And now getting the house, and now the job, and now the washer dryer. We get going. All right, standing ovation. Do we have any in the house here that I could read? Okay, none in the house to read. Let me give a standing ovation to those who got to attend our sweat lodge, our first comeback sweat lodge. We got a few alums in here that had a first time experience with the sweat lodge. And, okay, good. Yes, there we go. So we pour quarterly. We may do one if the spirit comes up this winter. That's a special kind of sweat lodge. But definitely in the spring. Shout out to Brother Boyce Brunson, son of Queen Mother Bernice Brunson, our ancestor. And Boyce loaned us the truck, helped us get the wood, the stone. And shout out to everybody, because when we get into this experience, it's brand new again. But Spirit made it so that we got to experience the entire thing. From putting together the willow trees, to stitching together the lodge, to putting the blankets on, to starting the fire, to blessing the rocks. Everybody got to experience everything. Prayer ties. This is the prayer ties with the tobacco. And all of that energy came together for that lodge. And time and space stood still. So if you haven't experienced that with us, get ready for it next time. If you want to know the experience, talk to somebody who's been in it, and they will tell you the value of that. So we sweat, we cleansed, people got revelations, and they're still getting it. So I and a standing ovation to all of you all. All right, let's do that. We're going to keep that rolling. All right, do we have any more in the chat? We'll see if anything came in. Okay.
Okay,
Awesome.
So if
All
you
right.
shared, you get to have several seats while the rest of us are going to stand to our feet and give a collective standing ovation. All right, here we go. Yes, so those are the announcements and ovations for today. So it is spoken, so it is received, and so it is. Ashe.
Hey, all right. Join me as we prepare ourselves for If Speaks, for the message that we have today. I am so excited. I am so excited about the conversation today. And I hope y'all got your notepads, your journals ready, or your spirit ready for this. But I'm going to invite you to prepare ourselves as we get ready by singing along with me And Sister Kenitha bring Brother Alex up as we sing, but let us go. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land where I'm bound, where I'm bound. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land. Come and go to that land where I'm bound. Oh, ain't no hatred in that land. Ain't no hatred in that land. Ain't no hatred in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound. There ain't no hatred in that land. Ain't no hatred in that land. Ain't no hatred in that land. Where I'm bound, oh, there is love in that land. There is love in that land. There is love in that land. Where I'm bound, where I'm bound, there is love in that land. There is love in that land. There is love in that land. Where I'm bound, oh, don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Where I'm bound, where I'm bound, don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land? Don't you wanna go to that land where I'm bound? Ooh, yeah. Get our own in right there, Brother Alex. Just get it in. Inhale. Exhale, let it go. All right. Sister K, would you turn that mic on there and pass? Oh, it's on. Go ahead and grab it. Alex, you want to grab it? I'll put it back on the stand when it's time to talk, but I know you probably want to have it so we can hear you at home and abroad. Y'all, I want y'all to join me in welcoming somebody I hadn't seen in a while. He is a friend. He is a brother. He is a teacher. He is an instructor. When our first guest had an emergency come up, she had to go out of town, I said, I got to find somebody that's also a first guest. And the spirit hit me, and Sister Kenitha and I were talking. We were like, Alex. Last name, Chiros. Close?
Yeah.
Give me the right pronunciation, because you always tell people Cheerios, right? Remember that?
Yeah. Growing up, it was Cheerios or Cheerios, like the cereal. But in Greek, it's Chirus.
Chirus.
So the accent's on the second part. So like Chiros, it's close. But it's if you say Chiros, but it's Chirus. Sounds like a goose. Yeah, I was in Samos, Greece, an island, and an old guy started running at me who recognized me from some pictures in his little village of Platanos, the village my dad's from, on his wall. And he said, Andreas Chirus, Andreas Chirus. And I'm supposed to be Andreas, because that was my grandfather, Papumo.
Uh-huh.
But instead, my dad's brother died in Vietnam, so that's a whole nother story. But so my sister and myself were married. We're married. We're named after my uncle, Alex. So we were married to the name. And anyways, so hearing Andreas, he thought I was Andreas.
Oh.
Because that's like what they always thought. Oh, that's little Andreas. But they broke tradition, and I'm Alex. And I was like, oh, he's trying to say what I'm supposed to be my name. And then hearing that last name, I was like, Chirus? Oh, that's my name.
That's right.
That's me. He's talking about me.
Talking about me.
Really strange. And then I met my yayamo, my grandmother's babysitter, which blew my mind because I was like 40 some years old. Here I am in the island, never met any of these people. And she said, oh, I knew your grandmother. I mean, she barely spoke English, and my Greek is terrible.
I wouldn't know that. You're using the terms right.
Yeah. My accent's good. My Spanish is better than my Greek. There's actually a lot of Spanish words same as Greek. But anyway, so she was still alive. She was about 100 years old. But my grandmother had heart, lung issues. So she died when she was relatively young compared to these people. So it was a mind-blowing experience. That's why the world is really small. We all have relatives all over the world that we don't even know about. So that was like the first time in my life I realized how small the world really is. And it changed. I'm still a different person to these days. All those people grow all their own food. They have no prejudice there. They have no, I mean, that's an arguable thing.
Well, we can always, relatively
they like
speaking.
themselves a lot. But
Oh,
no,
yeah.
it's really amazing. Like that culture is like, just like a whole different world. And it's like, that's one different world of millions of different worlds. That's how I look at, like, I keep thinking, you guys kept saying, come to that land. And my first thought of meditation is, the land is right here. And meditation is what clears out all the clouds and all the car accidents and all the materialistic, And you know what else hit me? It was, you guys, I've never been here since the renovation,
Yes.
but am I not right? The people who owned this originally, can we be open and frank and say they were a little bit materialistic?
Yeah, we can be open and frank and say that definitely as doctors, and lawyers, they wanted to make sure that they had a place that showed that they could exude wealth, that they could show that they're successful.
And
So
how
they
ironic
built one kind of house,
that
right?
a guy like this and a girl like that come up and take over this. That's all I kept thinking about. I was like, wow.
Yes.
But it's
yes.
kind of like, it's just strange. Like, to me, that's what meditation does. We live in a material world, and you said it earlier, we're all spirits. And like Sting, that guy from the Police, that band, he said we're all spirits in a material world.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he's pretty material, but I kind of like him. But I mean, he said it right.
Well, he's an internationally known band.
How do we navigate this world as spirits when everything's really all about material? Like, you have to have material to survive. It's hard to teach children that.
Yeah.
Like, how do you make money and how do you do for yourself but still stay a spiritual person? And it's like, the answer is kind of like meditation.
Yeah, well, and that's what I want to get to. First, I'm going to give everybody a chance to give a broad round of applause to Alex Chirus.
Chirus. It's enough.
Spelled T-S-I-R-O-S, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so Al, I'm going to tell you a little bit about Alex and why we're here, because we are talking about this concept of breathing, meditation, the importance of putting this into the body, and then we'll be able to even take questions, because on third Sunday we do Q&A. That's part of the uplifting space here at Infinity. So as you get questions, write them down, or if you're at home, get those questions in and make sure you type them in the chat box, and then Brother Tony we'll read them off, or I'll go over and pull the podium. It just hit me. I'll pull the podium over so we can read those off. But Brother Alex is a longtime certified yoga teacher, meditation leader. He's also got a background in acting. He also has Alex has done so much. He has a background in golfing. He had a great golf game, from what I'm told, yesterday or day before.
From 6 to 9, I'll be one of the teaching pros at Topgolf tonight.
How about that? So look, I'm telling you, you're going to see Alex in a lot of places. And you say, what are you doing here? Doing well.
Ted Rhodes, we shot 19 under and won the charity event for Du Bois.
Yeah, there it is. Right. He's also an artist, also a
I was a
guitarist.
minority at that tournament.
And that's we have all of these wonderful opportunities for us to see and experience each other's lives, and so that's great. And Alex, I'm going to remind you that we're going to have to play golf. You're going to help me with my swing.
Oh yeah, no problem.
So I met Alex years ago.
Be
The
glad
Infinity
for you
Golf
to
lesson.
mess up my swing for a couple weeks, Jeff. Thank you.
Yes, I will. I'll be glad, but I will learn. Alex is the first person who I took a yoga class from, and he told me, well, no, I'm the first person I took it from where you told me that a headstand was easy.
Really?
You're the first time, right? And I said, wait a minute. He said, no, all you gotta do is, here it is. And then you started feeling for the floor, and then you got to the point where you took your hands up, and he literally was standing on his head with no hands, and his hands were planted out. I was like, Alex, bruh, everybody ain't made for that.
It's easy.
So, and then it's easy if you just, you just
karma,
cheat your hand
experience.
out, and then you straighten your spine, and then before long, and then it's easy, and then you just pick your hand up, and then you lift the other hand up, and then all the rest of the class was like, that's not easy, man. You make it look easy.
Hey, it's like
But it's training.
it's like hitting a 42-foot downhill putt like I did on Friday. It's pretty easy. All you do is go like this.
Oh, right.
You just have to know which way to go, and
Right. There it is. Until
really
you
not-
try it.
That's
Till
why
you try
those
it.
little kids are easier to teach meditation and headstands. They're fearless. And like golf, they actually listen to you. And instead of taking all the things they had, like adults are really difficult to teach because they're taking all these things that they have in their head and they've heard it from so many different people. So that's why, like, as a teacher of like anything, you're really just like Yoda. You're trying to unlearn what these people have learned.
Yes.
You have to unlearn. You're unlearning in them, and then it clears everything out of the way for them to actually do it correctly. There's only two things you do in a golf swing, and there's only two things you do in meditation. And if you just do those two, but it's doing them. The only two things you do in meditation is you breathe and then you clear your mind.
Okay, good. Let's
That's it.
start there. Let's start there because when we
Golf
talk
swing,
meditation,
You
Alex,
exhale your air out. So you
okay,
don't have
good.
breath,
Let's
and just
talk
breathe.
about that process though. I want you to, because one thing that comes up when we talk about meditation, when you say that, a lot of people get intimidated because they think it means that you are sitting in lotus position, levitating 6 to 8 inches off the floor, and if you're not doing that, you're not meditating. But talk more about what are those two things that are needed and why it becomes difficult for some people to embrace it.
The Sanskrit words, and I mean, I quit using Sanskrit because a friend of mine said, we don't speak that language, so why use that language? Speak English. And the answer for that is because the ancients said to hear the words in the original language does something. And it's bhavana, means like a feeling, and it's artha bhavana. So chitta, vritta, nirodha is the Sanskrit word that means calming the breath. But then some people say mana, nirodha, calm your mind. But how do you calm your mind? Well, you use your breath to calm your mind. So it's like a catch-22. So what I believe is following your breath allows you to forget about everything else. So you're tricking yourself. Meditation is like tricking yourself. And in life, isn't life about kind of tricking yourself, sort of? Little kids, you don't always just say, well, you just be a nice person and work hard and everything will come. A little kid will just look at you like...
Right. What does that mean?
But you trick a little kid into like being a good person. You're like, that kid's crying, look what happened. Hey, go pick up that and hand it to him. And he's a little kid, but that's a littler kid. And now he just went and picked up the thing and gave it to the little kid. Now the little kid's not crying anymore. And he's like, oh, wow. So to me, we're all children in meditation and we have to trick ourselves. And that's all you're really doing. Because the goal of meditation is where you forgot who you were, because we aren't this. We're not these clothes. We're not this body. We're not this hair. We're what's inside. And you can't see that. You can only experience it. And in order to experience it, you really have to get quiet. And in order to get quiet, you really have to have tricks that work. And it could be staring at a candle, but if that worked today, it's not going to work tomorrow. human beings.
Good point.
Right.
Good point.
We have to find new ways to do it. So I've never believed in any teachers that do the same thing. No offense, Five.
Oh, don't worry. I don't do the same thing. I try my best because
No,
it
but
bores me to do the
having
same thing.
a forum, a curricula, that's good, but the core of it has to change so it stays fresh, so that we constantly are reinventing the simple process of clearing our mind, which is the most complicated process. The further we get into technology and lights and electricity, even an instrument to some purists is like we should only use our hands and drums and like I guess stringed instruments are a little different, but talking about electrical things take us away from the root of the rhythm and the root of. I remember as a kid hearing the first song that had like those pitch harmonics, like vocal. And I mean, this is one of the best underrated singer voices in
Oh man, no, I appreciate
Nashville.
that. I appreciate that. I appreciate it.
I'm a singer. I'm jealous
Yes,
how
you're
easy
singing all
you
that,
can just
yeah.
jump right in and sing. But I remember hearing that, and I'm pretty sure it was Cher was the first member to like, and her voice just went in there.
Oh, just all into the
Auto tune
yeah.
or whatever.
Right.
I've always felt like meditation has become everyone's just auto tuning. That doesn't work. Like a purist hears something like that, they don't like it. Most singers don't like auto tune.
Oh, right. Singers do not. It's irritating.
So
because, yeah.
meditation to me, it's so difficult these days because there's so many tricks and cameras and everybody wants the shortcut. There is no shortcut. The best way to achieve that calmness in mind could simply be like I remember like the first time I ever really meditated and I actually remembered it. I kind of have a photographic memory. It was when I was on a swing as a child, and it was so bright in the sun, but it like felt good to be swinging back and forth that I closed my eyes, and it was just like this, like the sun coming through my closed eyes put me in a place that was like so connected to the universe, just like the sun right there, right on top of the head of the, you know, I guess the symbol of the pharaoh.
Yeah.
In my mind, so it's like that it just, I forgot who I was. I actually let go and like violently fell off this. So like I like.
Oh, you
literally
felt
let go while I
momentum
was
carried you,
swinging.
and yeah.
That's why they say
completely
don't
let go.
meditate if you're sitting in a tree.
Yes, you make
Which I've
meditate if you're
done.
under a tree.
Not kidding. So let's get through some simple rules of meditation. Don't meditate on top of a building,
Yes.
on the ledge. Don't do it while you're on the swing set. But no, I literally like let go and swung off and like fell and like hit my head and was like, oh my God, I'm this little boy person. You know, my spirit like came out of me basically. You know, you separate your body and spirit separate. That's something you can't even talk to people about anymore.
Well, you can't. We can now in these spaces, and that's what I
Right.
love about being in these spaces. But another thing, when we talk about meditation, when you talked about being in the swing, it's the momentum, it's the awareness of something outside of yourself that also took you into a spiritual zone. What about when people say, "Well, there's just too much going on for me to meditate"?
I mean,
Like if you were to walk out, there's a deck right there, and you see the woods, and there are animals moving through the woods, and there's the sun coming up and the rain clouds. How do you meditate in a space where there's busyness?
Right. It is difficult. Some people, that's a big argument in the world of spiritual teaching is that there's a monk, all I can think of is a monk, and he was doing a headstand unsupported, without hands, in the middle of New York City, in the middle of the street. And he didn't set it up. There was no camera crew. He just walked out there and said, let me show you how easy it is. And I mean, he could have been hit by a car. He's like, if I get hit by a car, I get hit by a car. What's the difference? He's in such a meditative place. He just walks around in meditation, kind of, you know, almost. And that's how anybody is. We can just go like this, and you can go from sitting here talking to some people to just, I'm like, you know, I mean, we can all achieve that, but it's kind of that's like $1 million question. It's possible. I think it takes good teachers.
But you've been in places that have been extremely
Humming.
busy.
I could say humming.
Talk about that.
Humming.
Okay.
Bhavana, or the B sound. Bhavari is the name of the meditation. You literally just.
Everybody try that.
have. You can try to hear my voice. Keep doing it louder. You won't hear my voice because the buzzing blocks everything out of your head. So buzzing, okay,
Ooh, there's a vibration
buzzing
there.
can vibrate. That helps block it out. There's horse breath, which is more of a. That's the horse breath. That's more of a. Try it. It's relieving. It's crazy. It looks goofy, but it's relieving. So those are two of the first tricks off the top of my head. Closing your eyes, obviously, and buzzing your. If you close your eyes and. But you have to get your lips vibrating, so you have to kind of. Use your tongue, whatever it takes. Everybody has different teeth. Some people have holes in their teeth. You have to use your tongue to navigate and create a vibration. It's just a trick, and that's
That's
trick.
the divine distraction, though. You're doing something.
It's kind
that
of
pulls you out of where you are.
Yeah, there'll be people that will argue that, if you're using a trick, then that's not genuine.
There's always some police somewhere. There's the yoga police, there's the meditation police, there's the spirituality police, there's the religious police, and everybody has time. And it struck me that everybody has time to police everyone else.
Right.
They're obviously not focused in on the actual practice that is actually manifesting somebody.
Sometimes
Something.
I find myself meditating with the most distractions becomes the easiest way to meditate. And it's like, it's almost hard to explain, but it's like, have you all ever been just so stressed out on a given day where you're just like ready to pull your hair out, and you hit that moment when you're so tense that you can only relax because you like exhausted yourself. Your whole body is exhausted from being on edge. Like that tension in the nerves makes your nerves go from like a piece of papyrus grass to a piece of iron. And if all your nerves are tense, then your skin gets tense. When your skin gets tense, your brain gets tense. And it's like exhausting. And that's when a lot of people achieve meditation. A lot of people achieve meditation for the first time at like a funeral. They lost their father. They didn't, like, I think of Bill Burr, the comedian. His father never made up with his father. And then he died when his wife was having his fourth child.
Oh, wow.
Terrible.
Yeah.
He died in the hospital, and his father was, but it was like those moments when you're so stressed and you're like, God's not going to let you die. He's going to make you feel all that pain. And then suddenly it's like, the same thing happened in the TV show. The TV show is about his life, the comedian. You suddenly have this release because everything you realize it's not so bad, I guess.
Oh, you reach the end of your tether. Everything is so tight, there's nothing left to do except just let it go.
You have to continue living. So your brain suddenly makes like a spontaneous, like, oh, it's actually okay. And you find this, I don't know if anybody's ever experienced that, but I remember my father's, my grandmother, my dad's mother, the funeral was all these Greek women, 5 of his sisters, screaming.
Wow.
Literally. The Greek women are really emotional. And then the widows wear black the rest of their life.
For the rest of their
Pretty
life.
sad. We've tried to break that tradition.
Right.
As I'm sitting here wearing all black. But no, it was terrible. And I remember my father actually cry. It's the only time I've ever seen my father cry was at his mom's funeral. And I remember looking over, and it was like that. I was like, oh, this terrible person who hates me and wants to kill me every other day, he's a human too. He has emotions. That made me like a different person. And like that moment, I find all these moments in life, it's almost like meditation, because meditation, if you truly get there right before you leave your body, you're supposed to leave your body. True meditation is your spirit rises up to join the spirit in the sky, as they call it, the oversoul, the big thing that's a big ocean, that our soul is just a drip of water from that ocean. We're all part of that. This human body is just a vehicle that we're guiding that through to try to make everything better. That's how I look at life. We're all here to make each other better, constantly. If I have the right attitude, everybody I bump into becomes a little bit better golfer, a little bit funnier, more laid back, a little bit less serious, a little bit less affected by everybody's tension and anger and prejudice. So like we're supposed to just all be vehicles to help each other see the true light. And that's the thing. So many religions, there's so many different religions and so many different opinions. This is God and that's God and there's heaven and there's hell and there's this and there's that. They're all saying the same thing. But me saying that makes me controversial almost.
How about that? Well, definitely controversial to the superstructure, which is the religious infrastructure itself. I call it the religious industrial complex. And throughout time, the religious industrial complex has been challenged.
Oh, yeah.
What's most interesting is the modern religious industrial complex, 80% of America, which is in the Christian complex. It's interesting because it's modeled after someone who was an enemy of the religious industrial complex.
Exactly.
So
and who
Jesus
was Jewish.
was a complete enemy of the establishment. Everything he said
ironic.
was considered controversial. It was considered heresy, and people said we got to kill this guy because he's teaching that we're supposed to love each other and forgive each other, and that's not the standard status quo here. But it's also now been incorporated to create a way to continue to block people and to create a space where we're in the club and everybody else is not in the club.
Which doesn't
and you
make
have to
any sense.
Never in anywhere in nature does it make sense.
And Jesus himself as a person, the things he was preaching, in my mind, are basically what I'm trying to say about meditation. He was just and when he said, I'm the Son of God, that's our Father, it's everybody's Father. He sounded crazy back then, but what he's saying is, we're all spirits in a material world.
There it is, man. He was all saying.
Damn it, Sting.
2,000 years later, Sting would continue to reinforce this message.
No, but
tell us Maurice, right? Which is there.
It is so ironic that like what Christianity says in its roots too is really completely tied. No, there's also people that think Jesus lived through that's a whole nother.
And traveled the Silken Road to India and was a yogi. All of that's there. I mean, there are tons of stories of that.
And then this guy says, he came back. That Joseph of Bethlehem, he took the body, and he was the wealthiest man in that area at the time. And somebody had to do something with the body. It didn't disappear. And then, but he wasn't. He had Indian women that he brought back because he was the only one that. This is the guy that they say took, and the three angels in white. There's the argument that they could have been women from India that were healers who helped heal Jesus' body after his emaciation on the cross, and then he traveled east.
Yes, and then we could, y'all, if y'all didn't realize, we could go completely in the rabbit hole just on that. And the concept of the Roman concept of crucifixion, which broke the legs at the end, which was not done in the case of Jesus. There's no record of the legs being broken, which was the final secure way to make sure somebody was dead. So somebody came and healed and then taught another generation of people what he passed on from everything he got when he was coming up in the mystery system in Egypt all the way through everything. So there are tons of spaces here. But again, it comes back to how do you put this into practice? These are things for us all to meditate on. And I see in ancient spaces, whether we talk about ashe, this concept of breath and spirit, that on a lot of other languages, Alex, the word for spirit also translates in some form as breath.
Breath, yeah.
So that's
like spirit is the breath. Because I think what that gets into is the fact that when you're breathing and you tune into your breathing, it's like tuning into a radio station of God. That's how you tune into God's radio station. The breathings are like, if we're really jumbled like a TV station that's like shh, and you're trying to find it, it's like you're trying to breathe, following your breath, doing that. That's ujjayi, that closing up the throat. I'm just trying to sound like the ocean. All you do is just
teach us that practice. Come on,
yeah, all you do is close up your throat. It's as easy as that, and you just try to. If you close up your throat to where you're trying to pull air through, think of breathing through your mouth, not your nose. But it can come through the nose, so you can close your mouth. But ultimately, you're just breathing through your throat, and you're just trying to close the esophagus. So you've even touched your esophagus. It can help some people kind of squeeze and think like. You can actually physically squeeze your esophagus. It's a little uncomfortable. I don't totally recommend it, but that's what you're doing. And then try to get to where you do 5 seconds on an inhale. But the trick is you don't want to strain or find yourself like your heart starts fluttering a bit because you're kind of holding your breath. Not at all. It should just be like a, and then you pause for 1 second, and then.
Same feeling on the inhale and the
Exactly,
exhale.
same amount of pressure. So ultimately, it sounds like this. And I'll count it with my hand. So it's like. And all the air should be out after 5 seconds. And then. Full 1 second. Empty. And if you get to the end and you're trying to like push all the air out at the end to get it to the 5 seconds, don't do that. Just get close to 5 seconds. Try to stay flowing. It's more important to be smooth and flowing and keep it smooth, and you're not feeling tension. At first, you're gonna feel tension in your shoulders.
Okay.
I always tell people just lift your shoulders into your ears and just let them fall like they're really heavy. And that's one of the first things. And then clench up your face, and then just open everything as wide as you can. Almost say and then relax. And now you'll feel if you had any tension going, and then try another cycle. You might feel your shoulders trying to lift up because you're thinking about it. Just let them fall again, and just try to keep no tension in your shoulders, no tension in your chest, no tension in your jaw or face. A lot of people will tense up. You'll see musicians do it all the time. They're playing guitar solo, and they're like. Like, what the hell is that? We do the same thing when we breathe. You're like, whoa, what's with that face? No, just nice calm face. And you'll ask some singers too. There's singers and they don't even know they do it, but they kind of have to. But then, as a yoga teacher, I'm like, do you really have to? I don't think you have to. And I've taught a few musicians, and they even said, they're like, man, it was a habit, and my jaw would be tense after shows. And I'm like, yeah, you're playing guitar solos, and you're like,
Yeah, right.
my jaw is tense watching you.
Right. The tension, you're passing the tension on there, yeah.
Yeah, watch out for the crazy, music face, the crazy tension in your cheeks, your jaw. And I constantly, when I'm meditating, like I'm doing this, I'll even do these right here, and then by the time I'm actually hitting that stride of meditation, everything you totally let go, and then you're not thinking of anything. You're not thinking of your face. You're not thinking of your jaw. You're not thinking of your chest. Eventually, you should be able to click into an ujjayi breath, just like that. I do it all the time golfing. If I actually find myself getting nervous, which still happens, I'm human. Like, I still play big tournaments. You get nervous. It's a really difficult thing. All it is in golf is getting really still and staying really calm, and then exhaling your air so you can't swing. You got tension, relaxed, and then it's the same thing every time, mechanical. And then that's the thing that's hard with golf, but it's also hard with meditation. There are mechanics to it. People just want it to happen. You have to work at it.
Well, tell about, and then I'm gonna pull the screen over while you're answering this, and then we'll
Practice.
have
Just work
questions.
at
I was gonna say, in terms of the technique and the energy that goes into meditation. Same thing with golf. Same thing with yoga. Everything is about practice and about consistency. How long or how short it should a meditation be? Like, when people say, what is meditation? I don't have an hour to sit down and meditate. What is meditation?
I mean, if someone's never meditated, they've never had a spiritual practice, maybe they went to church as a younger person, or even now in a Western Christian or Protestant or whatever church, Baptist, they don't get into meditation. In my mind, the whole experience is kind of meditational, but it's not super powerful and super healing with the magic of meditation, where you can meditate in 30 seconds. And my answer is, when your spirit leaves your body and you forget where you're at for a second, you just achieve meditation. And if you don't have anything going on, this is not answering your question, but if you don't have anything going on, you could get lost for hours and hours. If you have something going on and you only have like an hour, like you said, or say you have 10 minutes, you can achieve the out-of-body place which is the seventh, the highest state of yoga meditation, which is samadhi. Samadhi means a state of super consciousness where your spirit leaves your body unexplained. There's no real explanation other than it can happen. Samadhi. A lot of people have heard that word. There's a rock band that had an album, Secret Samadhi, from the 90s. Live was their name. They talked about it a little bit, but it's that instantaneous, your spirit's joining the oversoul, whatever it's the. I guess you have to practice. I think some people it just comes to them naturally, but I think you do have to practice and practice and practice, learn some tricks, and then you just have to get to the point where those tricks get condensed down. Like, okay, I need to lay down. Like if I was gonna just drop on the floor, I'd show you guys, like sometimes I'll tense all my muscles and then relax. Tense them all, relax.
Which
sometimes
is a technique.
that's enough.
Yeah.
Tense all your muscles and pull them out. This is tension. This is relaxation. This is someone nervous that's got insecurities. This is someone who feels secure with themselves. This is someone who's did something wrong. This is someone who's trying to help you. You take all these things you do in your body, feel them, and try to undo them. That's one thing I've tried. Thoughts, everything you've done, every single word you said. Even if somebody's like, "How you doing?" You're like, "I'm fine. How are you?" And like, I was trying to hit a shot. Sorry. Or I was doing this, or I was really in a hurry and they didn't have my prescription ready at the pharmacy and I'm just in a bad mood and you happen to be right there. Sorry. You can undo that in your head when you sit down to meditate. So sometimes I'll try to think, all right, what are all the people that I was kind of nasty to in the last 2 days? Yeah, that lady was in the wrong place at the wrong time. Oh yeah, that that telemarketer that called me and I gave him Chuck D for real.
You gave him the unpublished second verse of Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
Pretty much. And I'm a white man. That's really weird. But like all this, and then you can do that in your head. Say there's like 10 people you come to. Okay, my mom's, I was a little mad and I shouldn't have been nasty even though she loves me. She's still upset. You could have your best friend who never seems to ever be in a bad mood. They probably do get in bad moods. So that one day, the other day, when you thought, that's going to be your dog to kick because they never get upset. Well, undo it right now. And then when you're done meditating, spontaneously, you think of like the last 5 people you've tried to wrong. You might find yourself suddenly back in 1982 and you're like talking to your friend at school who you stole their apple or whatever. So that's what I'm saying. You might actually only have 5 minutes. And if you don't even try, you're sitting there for 5 minutes like, I need to meditate, I gotta go. Didn't meditate, now you're more stressed out. Whereas if you just closed your eyes and said, sorry mom, sorry lady at the pharmacy, sorry lady at the pharmacy that I got even worse with her, sorry about, and then all of a sudden you're like, oh, I gotta go. That you were kind of meditating because you calmed down and you were doing something. So like that might sound a little different, but I think that's one of the most effective things.
That's practical, Alex. Practical. That's what when we talk about this, and I'm so glad that you're able to explain it that way, because when we talk about it, we make meditation such an abstract concept that we don't know how to apply it in a daily way.
I used to do a Dear Jesus journal, and you just said daily. I had to interrupt you a little bit.
No, go ahead,
daily
brother.
way. I used to just write to Jesus as a kid. And I mean, I read back, it's a little funny. Some of the things I'm like, well, I might have said something different to Jesus now, but it was like, most of it is always just like, hey, this is me today. Why is that person so angry? Or why did he do this to me? And like you kind of undoing, it's the same thing. Some people, it might not work to just sit there and try to think of it. They need to write it down. And if you write it down, even if you're writing something down for a minute and then you drop it for a second and you take one breath, one ujjayi breath, like, and then once you inhale, you're like, all right, I'm going to take all this, that person I wronged, I feel it. Now when I exhale, say and let it go. And that's a really good trick too.
And let it go.
Hold the breath in a little longer, and on your inhale, you're manifesting the release of this and let it go. So is a very powerful, we all do it naturally. When you actually practice it, it's even more powerful. And then if you say ah enough, if you only have 5 minutes to meditate, you could sit there and say, let's see if I can get how many ahs I can get in 5 minutes. And you're just like, ah, thank God the Guardians beat the Yankees. Ah, I gotta do this thing tonight at 6 o'clock. I'll be okay. Ah, and you just undo everything you gotta do.
That's a good one. That's a good one, Alex. That's a good one.
I hope Brother Jeff knows that the Browns are playing in like 20 minutes and I might have to leave.
I hope Alex knows that we're about 7 minutes from ending the message. And
Right?
we will
I'm
be
probably the
done.
most non-spiritual guy to a lot of people, but deep down, that's the thing. We're just spirits. No matter what, we're all doing the same thing. And just because you don't do a service or you don't stand up here, I don't try to teach yoga to somebody, try to teach somebody this. We're all teachers. I learned from people that consider themselves the least teaching person ever. I learned the most from them. And I think meditation is really a lot about discovering it yourself. And as a meditation coach, I'll go right back to what I said. Nothing ever works over and over and over. Anybody who thinks that is lying to themselves. Nothing will work over and over. That's why Hallmark, I hate Hallmark. I hate it. Don't give me a card. It makes me feel worse. Everything will be okay. It's like,
give
me a hug.
Give me a hug. Right.
Hug.
Give me a hug or a phone call or
it's
something
this
like
right
or
here.
handwritten
Man, I'm
note.
sorry. That's
Yeah.
it. I feel better. Take your card and get, it's so material. See how I'm angry with them. No, it's just, that's what like the world, like, why is it so hard to meditate? Because everybody else thinks you just buy them a card and everything's okay all of a sudden. No, it's not,
Yes.
Make it, put an intention in there. I don't want your money. I want you to look me. That's why I love what you did. Look people in the eyes. Like that's the one thing people tell me all the time. Like, man, you big dark eyes. You're just like so spiritual or whatever. I'm like, no, I'm not. I've just been looking people in the eye my whole life. And it's like it gets a lot easier. Little kids that never look people. It's like a cat, right? Has you all ever had a cat? Cat's the hardest thing to get a cat to do is look you in the eyes. It took my one cat like
He's
6
got cat,
years
so
to
he's
look
a
me in
cat
the
guy,
eyes.
yeah.
And once they look you in the eyes, the first time they're like, they do the weird cat looks, and they're like, and then when you find, and then so now I have a black cat named Stevie. She's 18 now. Just took her first osteoporosis. What do you call it? Osteoporosis for the bones. She got a shot, which I think made her a little sick for a few days. She's feeling better, so she's like moving around a little better. And like even her, it took her probably like a year and a half or something. I rescued her. If I touch her, she bit the heck out of me so many times. Just touch. If I just went like, even to not even touch her, just go like that, she'd stab you. And then, I don't know how meditation suddenly made me think of my cats, but now she looks me right in the eye, and she'll even sit there, and people are like, she looks like she's talking. I'm like, she is. Mm-hmm. We have to gain trust with ourself and our own spirit, and you kind of have to feel good with yourself before you can really become anything to anyone else, in my mind. You have to become whole, and the only way to become whole is to try, and the only way to meditate is you just start practicing. And the first couple times might be a mess. You might feel worse. You might get more stressed out. Keep trying.
Yeah.
Keep trying.
That was earlier. That was part of our meditation from the concept of ahimsa in the yamas and the niyamas. That the writer Adele was talking about, that you're a reflection of how you're feeling about yourself.
Yeah.
And you'll treat
like
people how you're
self-love.
feeling about yourself, and that space of non-violently interacting with others. It comes directly from your ability to non-violently interact with yourself. If not, you have a violence going on with yourself that then gets projected onto others, and it can be, a slippery slope when you encounter somebody at the store that may not be in the right space, and it's just you unload, and it happens in those, and we all do it. It all happens for us, but being mindful of that and conscious of that, and conscious of the breath, that ujjayi is important too, because you can do that anywhere. There are times where I'm in a stressful environment, and I do that as a preparatory moment. If I've got 30 seconds, I'm like, I just need to.
And
it may not be anger, but it just may be recentering. Let me center myself on that before I let that in there.
Well, like a true om is o, u. That's the 3 sounds. So an om is like
Yeah, oh no, we're gonna okay. We're gonna. I won't have time to rap to do that. So everyone, Alex in here dropping it. Hey,
That's
Also, I didn't tell you, Alex is hip hop aficionado. That's why he knew what I was talking about the second verse that wasn't added on to Chuck D's Black Steel in the Hour of Chaos.
You can find it actually on I heard it the other day. Somebody had it. It comes and goes. People don't know block it.
Yeah.
Everybody should listen to. Does everybody know Tribe Called Quest in here? Right? Isn't it sad when you meet a young person and they don't even know who Q-Tip is, and you're like, that guy is he's like the Godfather. He's almost the Godfather. Because he came along, he was happy. Like NWA was angry.
Yeah.
And even Chuck D is a little angry sometimes, but like Q-Tip was just like, I'm just gonna be happy.
Yeah.
And like I feel like hip hop music today is just, I don't know what's happening.
It's auto-tune. It's auto-tune.
Yeah.
Let me go. We're going to, I got a chance, time. If y'all have any questions, we want to make sure we get that. I'm going to share a couple of things from the chat that are up. I'm going to get, we got some people coming in with the chat. Matter of fact, it's sending me over to unashamedly, Brother Alex, get my little readers so I can give
thought
these
of
questions
something
to
I
you.
might throw out there. Maybe somebody will pick up on this. But
Please
the
do.
Chinese, when I learned Qigong, which just really means the study of the energy. Qi is your energy. Kong means to like look into or try to figure out, or like Kung Fu means like figuring out how to defend yourself. That's all it means. And Qigong is basically like a predecessor to like yoga meditation. Like Qigong is like doing stuff like this right here, just push and pull without stopping, and see if you can actually get your hands and then speed up and then slow down. And a lot of people, they'll be like this, or it has to keep flowing, and then you can learn to do ones that it actually takes like a ball of energy, and then you come up here and then it's here, and it comes back around. It just keeps flowing. And if we learn how to flow, it doesn't matter what you're doing. It could be fingers, it could be around. Can you actually stop? Just things like that. So to me, Qigong is basically little tricks as well. But the Chinese have a theory of belly breathing. So if you watch my belly, you breathe into your belly. And you're actually, so you're trying not to let your, which when I first learned it, it was super weird. It was like, oh wow, you're breathing and you actually start the breath down here and then it comes up into your diaphragm and your chest can expand. But if you just keep it down here, you can, it's really weird.
Well, I tell people I always think of the diaphragm as a balloon. So when you're inhaling, you're expanding that balloon, and when you're exhaling, you're just flattening it.
Yeah, it's like a bag.
Bag, you get that in there.
Rubber bag, really.
Yeah.
But like pulling it into your chest, you don't ever have to use your chest that much for breathing. You can use your, as opposed to. So
that's more of a heave than it is a breathe when you're in the upper part of that chest. That
Yeah,
doesn't get all the way down to the belly and the hips.
It is. It's really. I never really thought about it till just now. It's. I remember learning belly breaths, and I was like, "Are you really just breathing?" Yeah, like, well, you are. It's just kind of key. It's just a focus thing. You're just focusing on your breath. So like the Chinese monks, when they first met the yogis, it was somewhere right around like 300-400 BC. I think we've talked about that. One of the guys that came from India and started learning these, and then the Chinese monks said, wow, these Indian guys are doing so much physical movements, all the asana, the yoga poses, and they said, oh yeah, you got to kind of keep yourself in shape so you'll live longer, and then you might figure out, so their theory was it might take 100 years to figure out how to be connected with God. Our whole life is just a journey how to get there, and that's why the Eastern culture puts so much more. Like if a boat's going down, they save the oldest people first in the East. Because they have all the knowledge and they hold all this experience to teach people things. A baby, their soul just came into that body. It doesn't even know anything yet. If it doesn't live, it's not going to be too traumatic for the world. How ironic.
How about that, man? This is a lot, man. Okay. Good day today, right in alignment. Let me read a couple of comments
Save
and
the old
questions
ladies.
Save
know
them,
how
man.
to save
It's
you.
preserve the history. Sister Stacy Jackson says, Alex, a yogi told me when we sleep at night and dream, we leave our body and return to it upon awakening. Is sleeping and or dreaming a form of meditation?
100% correct. In California, we call it the dream world. I have friends that will often say to me, see you in the dream world,
Yes.
when they're going to sleep.
Yes.
Or in Greece, they say kali nikta, but they actually kind of mean see you in the dream world. I mean, not all of them. My dad would say, oh, what are you talking about, Alex? I'm like, well, Dad, you haven't had the conversations with your relatives like I have over lots of ouzo late night in the island.
Oh man, that's
They do. They believe like some people believe that's the only time you're truly in the spirit world and you're navigating past lives and other dimensions.
and you're free from the judgments and the machinations of what we perceive to be the real world in our physical self.
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's no longer, that's gone now.
The
And now
physical world
subconscious.
doesn't even apply.
Right.
You're
That's
leaving
Joseph
it,
Murphy and the power of the subconscious mind. When we talk about that, when the subconscious takes over, what happens is the prefrontal cortex shuts down when you're
Right.
asleep. The prefrontal cortex is the policeman of the brain.
Yeah, it's the
It's
same
what
thing.
said, be
Oh.
proper, don't break wind at the table, don't belch in this
Right.
culture. All of that now goes to sleep. And so because there's no regulator there that is programmed through subconscious and external absorption that you get from society and what they tell you rules are, when that goes away and it's lifted, now you're in a truly free space.
Yep.
And that space is in there. And that's interesting. Which is why I encourage people to write stuff down when you get dreams. or to spend time
No,
thinking
it's
about the
true.
dreams.
Like
you know?
I do believe you can access other lives as well. Your spirit has been through thousands of years.
Mm-hmm.
So the spirit has a library about all that. Your brain doesn't. This brain has a library of this life, but not the past lives your spirit has encountered.
Man, come
That'll
on,
take
dude.
people on a whole other thing. But yeah, see you in the dream world. What's her name?
All right. See you in the, Stacy.
Stacy.
See you in the
I
dream
will
world.
probably see you in the dream world tonight.
We'll see you in the dream world tonight. Terrell Lindsay has a question and it's a practical question, Alex. Certain seating positions, should meditation be pain-free and comfortable the whole time?
Yes, absolutely. And in lotus positions, 99% of the, not 99, 89, let's see, what would the real, probably 70+% of the people in the world cannot do lotus.
And when we say lotus, we mean traditional
Yeah, where you-
seating, but
I'm out of
crossing
shape.
all over each one.
put
See,
that-
Alex is going here. I'll get your mic for you.
Yeah,
Here.
just to put that heel on your belly and push your knee down. Like this has been injured a little bit. This one, no way right now. I had 2 injuries. I twisted my knee on the golf course. So if that's not comfortable,
Yeah. Yeah, it's the
this, like that's not bad. And then my hips will, sweating. No, the hips will start to calm down after a minute. The bone on my ankles hitting the wood right here, not very comfortable, but you kind of block that out, and eventually that pain helps me meditate, but that's going to block 99% of people's meditation.
Sure. Or for people criticizing themselves for not being able to do full lotus, taking this foot and then crossing it on top of that as
I mean,
well. Some
it'll
people do
come
do
in
that.
time, and it will be the most effective because that's truly the best way to get your spine straight is to get. So for me right now, if I wanted to meditate, I'd just take that leg out, set it there. My spine's pretty straight. That's pretty comfortable.
And that's technically half lotus,
Yeah,
if you
and
call
might
it
take
that.
the shoes off or whatever. The Chinese say to get pillows, and the Chinese are more adamant about getting really comfortable no matter what. Whereas the Indian and people up in Tibet, they say, well, work towards putting yourself in a meditation shavasana, or at first shavasana, just corpse pose might be the best, but a lot of people will fall asleep. If you're sleeping, there's a difference between sleeping and meditating. They're very close. I do agree.
Yes.
Sleeping puts you into the meditation zone, but you're not consciously doing it. So going to sleep at night is not going to help you tomorrow when you're trying to get your mind clear and meditate. Like, oh, let me just take a quick nap. Like, no, it's not going to work. You can't take a nap in the middle, but you can meditate just by And if you actually put yourself back into like a dream you had the night before, that might help get you there. But as
Takes
far as
a minute
position wise,
between
no,
some.
I absolutely 100% agree. You should be comfortable above all at first. And then the positions, the more, that's what they say. If you practice lotus, most people that sit on the floor, you're the one who mentioned it first, breaking wind, gas will interfere with your, and a lot of people have this stigma about releasing gas from your body. I remember the first like 2 or 3 years of teaching yoga, it was like learning how to deal with people farting in your yoga class.
Yes.
Without, and you're like, one of my favorite teachers, he's like, that's a good idea. It's better to let it go.
Yes.
And then he was like, but y'all might want to move over for a minute. Or something. Whatever. Yeah.
Let it go into your block or your mat.
Yeah. So
Your
with
bolster.
that being said, you don't really want to try to meditate 2 hours after you eat, probably, or like an hour, depending on if you ate a banana, it could be like a half an hour. But even a banana will sit in there and your belly will rumble. Belly rumblings and gas and different things will distract your meditation. And we're all human. We all have the same exact system. What's so weird is you become a yoga teacher and you're getting all these people, and I've taught in every format there. I've taught in hot yoga studios in Los Angeles.
There's a rumor out there in the world that you also once you were a yoga instructor at Disney.
Yep, Disney.
Okay,
I was
all
the
right.
first yoga instructor for the feature film and animation department in the building off the Burbank. What is that? The 170 freeway in Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And there's a big purple hat. And they picked me, the youngest person at the time. I was like 34, 35. What year was that? No, I was like 32, 33. And they had all these different people. And like they had all the people in the room. And they asked all the people. They were like, we're going to let them choose who they want. And I mean, I showed up late. I didn't even know where I was going. The building is crazy. Like you walk in and there's like 7 million Mickey Mouses etched, like carved out of the wood in the front desk. And everything's at a weird angle. The desk is like this. You're like, how are you doing? You walk in, you're like, whoa. And like the whole big, I mean, it's crazy. And the people are so stressed out. They fire everybody. Like, thank you for doing The Lion King. Your animation's amazing. This is the biggest selling animation of all time. You're fired. And then like a year and a half later, like, you're back. Now they did Aladdin. You're fired again. They're
We'll wait
so
until
stressed
we
out.
need you. Yeah, so
They
get
literally
us
told me
yoga
that. I
thing.
walked in, they're like, well, I used to work for him for 7 years, and then they let me go for 4.
Oh wow.
But it's okay. Let's meditate. Like that's how they are.
All right.
They bring anyway.
I got a couple of ones on when you
Sorry.
to get through. That's cool. So if you have something, put it in, and then I'll get a couple from here, and then we'll wrap for today. Sister Felina says, "I've never heard the term oversoul. What's the best way to explain it to a young person?"
Ooh, that's a good question. Like they call it paramatma.
Paramatra.
Yeah, paramatma, and we're all considered a spirit, which is a part of it. I think the ocean, like I said, that's the best way to think of it. It's like an ocean, and everyone's spirit is a drip of water from that ocean.
Good one. Good one.
Or like some people like the term light, because I don't think it's not like there's a big pond of water up there, but like light is better for some people. It's like the sun is the true light, which gives life to everything. Without that, so we kind of have like a piece of that light inside of us. It doesn't work as good.
Yeah, but the ocean, when you said that, it reminds me of something one of my other teachers used to teach, and that is that if you go to the ocean and you see the breadth and the depth, it's just limitless when you're there. But you pull a cup of ocean water out,
That's the same
take it
thing.
in the lab, right? And you say, this is ocean water.
There's millions of little living things in there.
All of
It's a
that,
microcosm
and
of
it's
it.
right. It's the micro. So all of the essence of the ocean is there. Now, does it have the power and the force and all that? No, but you pour it back in, it still becomes one
Yes,
with
it
the
does
ocean.
though. What if like there's a tiny little bug in there and you
Good
just start
point.
going like this?
Yeah, that's
See?
right, yeah.
That bug's like and he just fell.
Right.
That bug just fell millions of feet. Sorry.
No, that's all right. We got.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
I think about that the other day. I was at the golf course and I was like walking along and it wasn't a snake. It was like just a little lizard or something. And I was like, I didn't even see you. And then I was like, well, the grass to him is like huge trees.
Yes.
Covering him. And he's
Yes.
like in his own little forest. To us, it's like So when the grass gets long as a golfer, everybody gets all mad, like, oh, it's so hard to play. Why don't you cut the grass? Well, somehow in my mind, like the world, there's like I said, there's millions of tiny universes. That wasn't that like Men in Black. That's like that little guy
Right, the
that
Men in
lived
Black with
in the
the-
little
in the
world.
locker, yeah.
That's like I think that's a great thing.
Yeah.
I think the writers of that movie nailed it. They're like,
Yeah.
yeah, well, that's a whole entire universe right there. That's
So,
how I
so
like to think of it.
oversoul is that energy that connects, and you could look at it as we're vessels. We're like little vessels. So this little cup is us with a little bit of that ocean in there. So we have microcosmically that same
like-
energy. You pour us back in.
How about
and we're
this?
back
How about
in the
this?
Oversoul.
It's a battery that powers life, and we all have a piece of that battery.
Oh, I love it. That's almost Green Lanternish.
Yeah,
Almost,
it's like
you
a
know?
battery in the sky, and like we're all running on a little tiny. Or yeah,
I
or
love
you
it.
think of it like another, just me trying to be an artist. Like it's like a big blur of light, and every single person has like a string. Like there's a string of light that's attached to your heart. So we're all just sort of like running around, but we're all still connected. So which makes us all connected. Really?
See, you never know how these things go. You never know how these things go. They stole it.
Another one.
All right, we'll do this. We'll get to see what we have here. And again, Terrell also asked, it's a variation on what he asked before. Legs sometimes go to sleep in meditation. Is a little discomfort okay when you're trying to meditate? Okay.
You can use discomfort to help you. Everybody's different. Some people, they feel discomfort and immediately it starts triggering a reaction in their brain, which pushes you away from it. Some people, they feel a little pain and it pulls them towards it. You just have to go with it and practice and see how it feels. Your legs getting numb and falling asleep, it's okay. You're definitely cutting off blood when you put yourself in lotus. There are going to be places you don't want your body to cut off blood for too long. You know, like a half an hour, 30, 45 minutes. Anything more than that, it's going to take a while. Don't try to walk around.
Yeah.
Fall right on your face. But yeah, no. Like, I think all yoga poses is a matter of pushing yourself to discomfort without hurting yourself. Learning that edge, as they call it, like in really powerful power yoga, like find your edge, ride your edge. Riding your edge is like if you can't bend over and touch the floor at first, that's really hard for a lot of people to do. Keep your legs straight, palm the floor. Took me all my years of working out as a football player, all my years of running and tightening up my hips, all my years of sitting in cars, traveling the country, going to all these auditions. I was so unhealthy, out of shape. It took me years to, and then once you get rid of all that tension, it takes years to put it back in. One of my favorite yoga teachers said, it took me all these years to become whatever you want to call it, a less angry, less violent person. I can teach other people now. And then he started selling cars. Like, why are you selling cars? He's like, I couldn't make any money teaching yoga. I had to sell cars for a while. He's still the same person. He's still meditated. He's still the same. I'm sort of in my car salesman mode. I've been playing more yoga. I mean, more golf than teaching yoga, teaching golf, working in a restaurant just to make money to try to do. And like my studio has been put on hold, but it's still going to happen someday.
Yes, and so is your book.
Yeah, the book's probably finished, but I like my book has so many chapters and they keep getting rewritten. Y'all, I took my whole book and just ripped it up and threw it down. It was like 400 pages. And then it took me like 2 months and I already wrote it in code, so somebody just couldn't pick it up and steal all my ideas. So I'd write like 5 pages and then go to the back of the book and turn the book around and write sideways and change colors with inks. It took me like 2 months to figure out the order of my book. And then I read it again and I was like, nah, I don't even feel like this anymore. I'm gonna change it all. And I've written another book. So it's one of these days, maybe I'll get a publisher to help me or somebody. But the whole point of it is trying to explain all this, trying to explain when I flew out of my body suddenly after hitting a car on my bicycle and literally was in the sky looking at myself.
Yeah.
How is that possible?
Yeah.
I'm telling y'all that it happened. And I was looking at myself from like 80, 90, 100 feet in the air. Everything looked like I had like a pantyhose over my face. That just spontaneously happened. That's in the book. trying to explain that.
And then fortunately, you came back, which
Yeah.
is why you're here with us in the space today. Let me get this, and then anybody has a question, raise your hand, and Sister Kanita will bring you the mic, and we'll get that, and then we can roll. What are some helpful and safe techniques you recommend when in the middle of an activity, say, for instance, operating machinery or behind a wheel? If you're in a space like that, should you?
Oh,
To
no,
what extent?
No. If you're feeling stressed and you suddenly have a moment where you know, turn that machine off, stop, or at least put it in park, hit the emergency brake, take a few breaths, like, don't know.
Yeah, you don't want to tune out while you're in the middle of.
Nope. Not in a tree, not anywhere near a body of water, not on the side of a boat, on the side of a cliff, operating a machine, even on a golf cart. Anything. You want to separate it. Best place to meditate is like out in the woods, really. Out in the woods where there's no bugs, or put some bug spray on or something. Or get a sweat lodge and seal the bugs out.
Yeah, man.
Something like that.
That was Friday night.
Yeah.
That was Friday.
Oh, you guys
night.
just did one Friday,
We just did one
literally?
Friday night. I got the lodge in the backyard,
Did
man.
the
We get
sage
some
water
rocks.
and
We can go
everything.
back there and do all of that. We
Yeah,
can get
yeah.
all of that. All right, so
I did one with
questions
Lakota
here.
Indians.
And
Yeah.
Denise has a question, and we'll give that mic so we can hear it at home. And then I've got an awesome poet published here, Andrew McFadden Ketchum. He's a member of Infinity. Andrew's awesome, and he's an exceptional editor. He put a message in here. I know somebody who can help you with that.
Oh, okay. All right.
Andrew's my BFF.
All right. Hey, tell him bet.
Yeah, he's got you. We bet, man.
bet.
We got you. Bet, Andrew.
So, my first question was already asked, and it was going to be about dreams. You spoke on things that were in my thought process. One of those being how kids are open to whatever you teach them. They have less resistance. I was telling Miss Kanita, I skate a lot, and I have adults that say, "Teach me how I want to learn how to skate." And I'd rather do children, because kids are not afraid of falling.
Right.
Like, they just kind of bounce back. And
Yeah.
adults start listening off, well, if I break something, it's not going to heal the way that it used to. But
Well, then you also have to think about liability a little bit too.
you got to
Teach
have
somebody
fun.
to
You
skate.
got to relax and have fun.
Right.
Everybody's on different levels of skating, just like meditation.
Right.
So for me, I've had the desire of meditation for a long time. I reflect back quite often on the daydreaming kid, because I was a daydreamer.
Kind of like meditating.
Yes, but I remember the feeling, and the feeling was like,
Where was I?
yeah, just almost like a helium balloon. I remember that feeling. So now, seems like when I sit and get quiet and all of that, the brain starts doing this, that, and the other, but the desire for that gravitating feeling is so strong, but it seems like it's so disconnected.
Yeah.
Because I do, and I'm a mover. Like,
Yeah.
movement is soothing to me. So that's another question
Well,
too.
that's a good thing, because a lot of people say, well, I can't do yoga because I like music on. I asked a girl I work at a restaurant with, I said, you ever do yoga? And she said, no, I'm kind of more, I need like music and I like to be moving and stuff. It's too slow for me, blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, you've obviously never taken one of my power yoga classes.
No,
So
yeah.
like, we haven't talked about this, but doing really intense yoga poses, like I would say right away, I could probably teach you a very physical workout that would actually be nothing like daydreaming as a kid. But suddenly at the end of it, when I'm like, all right, just lay down for a second, you just whooped your butt so hard, it's like, whoa, you don't have to do anything, you just lay down now. It's kind of like the opposite of just sitting there and like sort of daydreaming, like, oh, that guy looks like he's kind of meditating. You're like, what do you do? Oh, I don't know. What? Yeah, that I feel good all of a sudden. I just kind of was meditating. How is that anything related to, like, stand up, stretch, go down, up dog, down dog, this, that, this pose, that pose. Every pose is uncomfortable. You're thinking, so I can't do this. You're thinking, and then you lay down and it's over, and you get to this. You get further into that place where you were as a kid meditating. It's just a technique, that's all. It's like there's so many techniques, and then the problem with a lot of modern day yoga classes is there's so many things you can do. People try to put too much all in the same thing, and then nothing works.
Oh my gosh, I got a question on that. But get that. Did that answer your question?
Yeah, that's
Okay. Okay. Good. And Deanna had one. Go ahead.
Just really quick, as far as the out of body piece, does it count as out of body if you're not looking at your body? So if you're somewhere else and you're not connected anymore, but you're not like looking back at, like in your experience where you looked up.
Oh, okay, so like you're saying if you're not seeing yourself,
Yes.
you're just sort of.
You're somewhere else, but you're not seeing
No,
yourself.
absolutely, absolutely. I don't think it's very common to see yourself.
Okay.
That was like, he knew what I was talking about. Like I was like almost dead. Like I went face first into a truck on a road bicycle going like 30 miles an hour. Ripped my nose apart. It actually ripped my nose and lip all the way through my sinus cavity. Yeah, and I think my truth is, if you like in my book, I'm saying, well, when we die, you don't feel any pain at all. Somebody walks up, points a gun at you, your soul is like gone.
Oh,
I've
had that experience. It is very real.
Yeah,
Very
and you're
real.
gone, and then
Everything
you may
disappears.
come back, and then some people say, oh, you have a walk-in, like another soul jumped in your body. That's a whole nother chapter of the book.
Yeah.
That's another 2-hour talk right there.
Right. We're gonna miss the Browns, so we ain't gonna miss it.
Yeah, we're gonna choke again anyway.
Okay, great. I'm gonna check to see, Tony, if I have any other issues in the chat. Then, does anybody else have any other questions here in the place? Because we've got, yes, this is great, and we've done this. Can you explain the breath of fire and how
yeah.
to do it?
When you
Everybody, we're gonna practice this. Breath
push
of fire.
your belly in when you exhale out, so it's like what's the best way? If you're trying to make like if you had to blow a candle out, basically, and then just take your hand on your belly and just as you blow a candle out, just try to. And it kind of has to become, and then there's the bellows breath, which is close, and that's where you don't ever breathe in, you breathe out so hard that the inhale sort of happens, like he was saying about a bag earlier, you're blowing all the air out of the bag. Like think of a thing you're doing, the fire.
Yeah, the fire,
never
the air
really
aerator. Yeah.
Just pushing all the air out when you open it back. So breath of fire is similar. That's pretty much it.
That's great. And that will energize you. And also it will, if you're ever in a space where you need energy, you can do that breath of fire. It will energize you. It'll awaken you. And it'll also, if sometimes it'll make you a little lightheaded. So be mindful of that.
You should only do about like 20 at first.
Good
Take a
point.
break. Yeah. And then I think the best way to build up to those most beginner yoga classes using a breath of fire would start with like 20 or 30 seconds and then see how you feel. Take a little rest. And you work up gradually to a minute and more, and to the point where you could do it a long time without. You'll know when you're going to pass out. Learning all that stuff, learning your ability to hold your breath and know how long you could hold your breath before you're actually going to pass out. Learning how far to stretch before you're actually like injuring yourself. I mean, that's the most common thing in yoga is people pull their back out or strain their hamstrings because you see somebody in front of you trying to. Or not trying, they're doing the splits, and all of a sudden your brain's like, well, I should be able to do that.
Right.
The most important thing as a yoga teacher, in my mind, is to keep everyone in their own space, not having anything to do with anyone else. And if couples come, married, whatever, they're just together, I separate them. And it's like, forget about him and forget about her, or him, forget about him, and just separate them and get your mind off everyone, not especially your partner or somebody next to you, because they're going to hurt you. So just same with breath. Breath is sort of like, you don't really want to get that uncomfortable. And you don't want to, I did a class in Los Angeles where I literally was like, it was like tripping, literally, like breathing so intensely for so long. I had this like, where you're like, ugh, like you feel like you're like, it like forced my soul out of my body.
Yeah,
it was like weird.
Yeah.
Like that's not a good experience. It took me a few days, my own things to
recover.
undo all that. So yeah, you just gotta be careful with it. And like, there's really all this stuff, like I said, some people like their whole life, you're spending your whole life trying to get to a certain place. You're not trying to do it overnight. You know, that's one thing. And it might not work. And that's why it takes a really good teacher to keep your students encouraged to practice more spiritual things, because it's difficult. It's not going to just happen like that. You know, especially the more trauma you're trying to undo, you know, and it'll get ugly. You're going to get a lot of emotions. The best way to become a more stable person emotionally is staring right at all your emotions. You know, staring right at those. I mean, this is way off topic in a way, but I don't think it is. Recently, that Jeffrey Dahmer thing came out, and somebody asked me, they said, Alex, what did you think about it? I watched it. I said, what did I think about it? I was 14 years old. I mean, I wasn't like going out to clubs and like, especially gay clubs or anything like that, but I was less than an hour away from where he lived.
Oh my goodness.
Bath Township. I know exactly where that is. I'm from Strongsville, Ohio. That's Cuyahoga County. Wow. We're only like 2 counties over. I could have been one of those guys. And then he moved to Milwaukee. I have friends in Milwaukee that actually knew some of the places. It gave me closure. Sure. It did. Why? Because anything in life that happens puts karma out in the world. And as a person growing up, obviously that guy had whatever you want to call it. He was a soul that lost his path. Somebody could have tried to pull him back on the path. I'm not going to get into him. It's more of me and the way they act. And I said, I got closure. It made me realize life is a long journey. Things happen. Let's get past it. I do realize the families and all that. Sure. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to certain things in life, we can't explain anything. We can't explain that guy. You're not going to explain him. You can't put fault on anyone. It's not the father's fault. It's not the mother's fault. It's not society's fault. It's not the landlord's fault. It's not the cop's fault. It's not the neighbor's fault. It's no one's fault. It just is what it is. God created us all with the same abilities to do anything. Deep down, we're just animals. Some people get lost on their path. When you're talking about meditation, when you're talking about, you're going to have to undo things that you might not have nothing to do with you, but you saw something. It affects you.
No, that's good.
That's okay.
Yeah, no, that's
it's
good.
okay. You're allowed to talk about
That's
it.
alignment.
People don't want to talk about it because it was so horrible. I'm like, there's nothing good about that situation. Nothing. It's an evil that we shouldn't, but knowing that it can happen helps other people say, hey, that guy just said, why does everyone leave me? Nobody saw that as like a traumatic sign. He must have said that a lot because he felt abandoned, and his family did abandon him. And when it comes to me, I say that helped me with closure for myself, for the situation. It makes me realize if I ever do become a parent, it's important as a parent to pay attention to your children and look for signs and don't leave them. You're not supposed to leave a baby on, what is it, like 30 seconds even. 30 seconds, a baby, you sit a baby down, within 30 seconds, they start getting...
They get antsy.
They get trauma.
The separation anxiety. It's real.
Yep. And if that continues and continues and continues. So basically what I think when it comes to like meditating and undoing all your own, man, we can look deep into ourselves and undo things. You can undo everything you've ever done bad to anyone in the world ever. And and you will be forgiven, and you will help other people. There's nothing we can't undo, so to speak. You know, and even the thing that I took out of that strange, obviously deranged, just completely crazy mind, he was still a human under there somewhere. Maybe they should have. I said, no, burn his brain, get rid of it. Maybe they should have studied his brain. Maybe we could learn something. Who knows? In the end, I think the most meditational people, like Yogananda was sitting here, he would say, very interesting you bring up that point, because you know what? It's very relevant to our society. Anything we do, entertainment business affects us all very deeply. And we've been all affected by the way like the entertainment business has. I was a part of it. I got very traumatized as an actor myself. There's a lot of things. I guess what I'm saying is we as a person, nothing like, there's never a reason you can't affect everybody around you, period. And I feel like that, if nothing else, that person was human, and there's other humans, they might not be, doing crazy things like he was, but there's little microcosms. We can see it in children. We hear certain children say certain things. We should learn. We should say, hey, let's investigate this a little bit. You just said, don't leave me. What do you mean? Whatever, something like that. So meditation leads to a clearer mind, leads to we become better investigators, or not investigators. You become more aware of everything happening, less selfish, I guess. Strangely.
Oh, and that's good. I want to give a chance to wrap it up real quick. Do you have a real quick one, Denise? Yeah. Grab it.
That other people's traumas can be healed through different people that were close to them. Like my mother experienced a lot of trauma during her time here, and she transitioned. I was very close to her, good, bad, indifferent, fighting, loving. So I believe that I'm her child. She gave birth to 3 children, 2 boys and a girl. I believe I'm her child that was closest to her heart because I saw a lot of hurt that she experienced. And I believe I'm still here to share her story.
Yeah.
I do believe that. And I believe that not my responsibility, but my part is to share her story. And it does contribute to healing because I believe she didn't understand that she had the power to be healed within herself.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we like, that's kind of maybe why I brought that crazy television thing up. Like, anybody that's a human being, we can learn from, and anybody that's a human being can be healed, you know. Obviously, a person like that, they're going to be incarcerated, but we can learn from them. And like, honestly, I think like that guy was like schizophrenic, like had split personalities. And I think a lot of people in life have, like, say for instance, your mother experienced trauma, she might have put it somewhere in her, and like you said you have 2 brothers. They might never. You're a woman. She was a woman. It might never come out for your brothers because it just didn't. Just, you know, and like, you might be the only person that even was aware of that. And like, you knowing it and you holding on to it isn't going to help me recognize this woman over here. What was your mother's name? Velma. So like, for instance, there might be a woman right next to me someday that's going through something that your mother did, that exactly like Velma. But if I don't know her story and you never share it with me, or if you never manifest something because of it, if something doesn't come out of it, I could have, you know what I mean? Like, I might see something now because of watching that TV show, or talking to her, talking to Kenitha about her, this, what happened to the so-and-so? Oh, blah, 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 blah. Just sharing the story might be enough for my brain. I might hold on to that. So in the future, it might be 50 years from now, I see a kid and he says something or does something or says, my mama did this, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, oh, you know what? I've heard about this before. Hold on, come here, little brother. It's okay. This is what we're going to do. Simple as that.
And I've found that learning a story, like when you talk about these stories, learning a story does less to heal things that you cannot fix anymore. Like when parents, relatives, people who had traumatic experience through us, we can't do anything to fix them anymore because they're gone on. But to remember their story allows us to recognize when we see that in ourselves and we see it with our children. So and people who are around us in the next generation, we can recognize through that story. Then the fixing, if there is any fixing, is right now and going forward. So it's the concept of that 7 generations past, 7 generations forward. It's the recognition of that. Whereas if we're not careful, we'll get so trapped in the memory of the story that we basically just reinvent and recreate the trauma. And we pass on the trauma instead of passing on the healing. So the trauma exists. We recognize it. We see somebody going down that path. Oh, wait a minute. Well, no. This is what happened to my mama, my grandfather. No. This is what I had to deal with. I'm going to make sure that that's not passed on to you. We're going to do a course correction. And that's paying attention and paying intention to this space.
You know
So as we wrap, I'm going to give you pull it together and do the final comment that you got, Alex.
Makes me think of, like, should we study history or not? Some people say, oh, history, like, who does it matter? It's done with. Why study it all, blah, 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 blah. Archaeologists, just stupid. And I do believe, like, there's a lot of things that, there's like civilizations we don't know existed because they just burned all their relatives and they just burned all their houses down when they moved or whatever. How are we going to know that they were even there? We're studying what we find. What we find is only so much percentage of what was really there. True. Pompeii, there's probably other buildings that are underneath the buildings of Pompeii. there's things that get buried and buried and buried, and then it's the soil does this. We don't even know about the soil way down. All I'm saying is every single person in the world that has a story, in my mind, everything is relevant. Everything is relevant, and anything that ever happened to anyone. That's why I said I got closure from that strange story. It helped me realize, hey, you know what? There are some people that are so messed up. If we don't recognize that, and we don't, then it could cause some pain to some other people. And it doesn't have to be necessarily violent. It could be pain like someone just says something. Like the most painful things to me are those non-violent, but they're very violent. What do you call it? Passive aggressive.
Yeah.
Things being said like, oh, I see how you are. Okay. And they walk away. You're just like,
Just tell me how you feel. I'd rather.
yeah. That creates bad tension immediately. So like the opposite is if we took every single experience that ever happened. That's a thing. Like people want to cover things up and blah, 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 you know. And a lot of people don't want to admit like, oh, my uncle that was, you know, an alcoholic and beat up my aunt and then did this and that and this, blah, blah, blah. If you just shared the story with this guy, it would help him understand, hey, let's go talk to so-and-so, or let's just say hi to him.
That's right.
Whatever.
That's right.
So to me, meditation in its essence, like if I had to sum everything up, it's clearing out all the garbage, or whatever they say, vrit, like the fluctuations. Your mind's like, should I do this or should I do that? Should I do this or should I do that? Am I fat today? Do I look fat? Do I look good? Do I look that? Is my hair thing? Like, it's all these things. It starts with a zit on your face, uncomfortable feeling from this person. You don't like your house, whatever, like your bills that stress you out. You don't like somebody at work. All that stuff is just a distraction in our minds, and meditation just takes all of this and is supposed to stop. Stop everything moving. And it's like, if I really had to give advice, it's like, try it. Do you think this will work, Alex? Try it. I used to like sitting on my roof of my house. Go up there. Go take a trip back to your childhood home. Ask the people who live there, do you mind if I sit on the roof for a minute? They might be like, you know, I was just thinking of doing the same thing. I went to a place I rented in Antioch when I first moved here. I left my state championship football rings hanging in the closet. They disappeared. But I went back, and it was a young girl, and I asked her, and she had her kids and everything. I said, this might be really weird, but I used to rent this house. I just want to look for my rings. And she was like, I mean, I must be not so evil looking. She's like, no, that's fine, come on in. Went in, looked around, left. You know, some people were like, you crazy, Alex? You're going to go ask some girl if you can walk in her house? What's wrong with you? I'm like, because I need to, because it made me feel better.
Sure,
sometimes
that was
the
unresolved.
stupidest
Yeah.
things in life make you feel better. If something's so stupid in your mind, but it might make that person feel better, do it. If you look stupid, hey, that's welcome to my life, you know.
Family, Infinity, friends, everybody, join me in giving a round of applause to Alex Chirus.
Just trying to be honest. I hope I helped somebody.
Thank you, man, for coming in, and we appreciate
Great.
you.
No,
man.
this is great. The place looks awesome. I haven't even really seen much of it other than the front door, and it was here. So
Well, we're in there.
I've
man.
always had a good energy when I drove down the street. The property, I'm excited to kind of look around and see what's going on. You know, nice to meet you all.
All right. Brother Alex Chirus, y'all. We're in the space at that. Here. All right. As we begin to close today, we want to say thank you to everybody. It's always interesting. We keep an eye. We're right ahead. I'm like, oh, we're so ahead of quote unquote schedule in terms of the speed that we get to the message. But then when the message is so rich and it's full, that time just flies. So time has flown today. We come to a great closing of the official service. I'm going to ask everybody to rise for us as we begin to sing our song to get going from the space today. We are leaving from this place, but never ever from the divine presence. So let's get our sway and our rock on. Oh, I got with Sister Kanita. I was right on time. So as we give thanks for everybody who has tuned in today, everybody who has joined, everybody who has been a part of this fellowship, who will share this broadcast. We learned so much today from just the fellowship and even more from the message today. Go forth in a space today in a world that awaits your light, and do not be afraid to shine. Do some breathing this week. Embrace that love energy in yourself. Out with the old, in with the new. And we'll see everybody same time next week, virtually for yoga. And so it is. Let us sing together. If today's a brighter day and we are on our way, then we can begin to heal ourselves again. Oh, we remember yesterday, and yet today's the day. God's reminding me to look at you and see family. If today's a brighter day and we are on our way, then we can begin to heal ourselves again. Oh, we remember yesterday, and yet today's the day. God's reminding me to look at you and see family. And God's reminding me, God's reminding me to look at you and see family. God's reminding me, God's reminding me to look at you and see family. We speak that the love of the Creator, the wisdom of the ancestors, the power of the cosmos rest, rule, rock, and abide with us from this moment evermore going forward. We sing together. Amen, Amen, Hotep, Shalom, Namaste, Ashe. See y'all next week. Love and fellowship in the lobby. We love you. That's a fact you cannot change. Like and share.